In this slide, I'm going to reiterate the goals and objectives of this video. One is to show potential habitat and range of the species, history and life cycle of the species, the bird's diet, and how to properly and successfully manage for this species. In this video, I'll be using clips and footage from the Tuskegee National Forest. The Tuskegee National Forest is located 2.5 miles northeast of Tuskegee in Macon County. The original purchase of the property was 10,358 acres, which was purchased by the federal government. When it was first established, the Tuskegee National Forest was the most abused, eroded wastelands in the state of Alabama that was 80% cut over. The worm-eating warbler is found throughout North America, and it migrates to parts of Central America during the winter. However, the worm-eating warbler breeds throughout the southeast, where it can be found mainly on broadleaf forests on hill slopes and ravines. Though this is the preferred habitat, they will also be found in pine forests that have the same landscape features. The worm-eating warbler prefers dense woody understory. They also breed in mature forests that have dense understories. Here's an example of where the worm-eating warbler nests on. They nest on the ground of woody hillsides next to deciduous saplings or brush, where the female builds a wall of dead leaves to hide the nest. This is a mature longleaf stand found at the Tuskegee National Forest. It has a very open canopy with dense understory, which is good for the mating and regeneration of this bird species. This is an old agricultural washout that is found in the Tuskegee National Forest. As you can tell here, it has very thick, dense, woody underbrush and saplings found throughout this ravine. It's very good for nesting habitat and very good for raising young chicks. There are many ways to properly manage for the worm-eating warbler. The main goal of this is to create a dense woody understory, and there are a couple of management strategies to achieve this. The cheapest and easiest way is for clear cutting. Some advantage of clear cutting are ease of administration to the stand, increases herbaceous cover, and also can increase some bird species. However, some shortcomings of clear cutting, which are actually good for our bird species, are abundance and high density of some species, lack of cover, which may adversely affect some tree species and can increase competition by herbaceous and shrubs. And some negative aspects actually are wet sites may become wetter, mineral soil exposure may increase soil erosion, and cold air drainage may damage some of the reproduction and saplings found in this stand. Another silvicultural management strategy you can use to properly manage for the worm-eating warbler is shelter wood. The silvicultural method of shelter wood is where you leave 25 to 60 basal area on a stand. This creates a very open overstory, which can allow for regeneration of new pine seedlings or hardwood seedlings, but also is open enough where it can create a dense woody understory where the worm-eating warbler can nest and have its chicks. There was a study done at the Land Between the Lakes National Forest, and it proves that there is a 25% increased population in areas where shelterwood practices have been. The management of this species is very easy. Simply just let the understory grow thick and dense with woody vegetation and shrubs. In areas where there have been prescribed fire, there is little to no worm-eating warblers in these areas because of all the thick woody understory has been burned and removed. The typical diet of the worm-eating warbler is usually arthropods and smooth caterpillars. However, they also feed on beetles, sawfly larvae, and they feed its young with moss and grubs. The worm-eating warbler usually feeds on curled up leaves on the trees, or they search the ground for insects that are also in the dried leaves there. They also feed on or around limbs or on the trunk of most trees. Not only is the curled up and dead leaves important for the worm-eating warbler's food source, it is also very important for the worm-eating warbler protection for its nest and its young ones. This bird's diet is the reason why it should be managed in our forest, because it eats beetles, sawfly larvae, and many caterpillars that could possibly damage the trees and their health. The identification of the worm-eating warbler is it's a small, active, insect-eating bird that is usually 4.5 inches in length. It has thin, pointed bill that helps assist in finding food. They have black and buffed head strips with a buffy breast, with white underparts with pink legs. Its upper parts of the body are olive to brown in color. The life of the worm-eating warbler. They usually nest and reproduce in the southeast United States. Their nest is an open-cut design. The average clutch size is 3 to 6. They incubate for around 13 days and takes around 10 days to fledge. Also, these birds typically have one brood per year. The scientific name for the worm-eating warbler is Helminthrus vermeus, and is also a neotropical migrator. Here's a range map of the worm-eating warbler. As you can see, it's spread throughout the majority of the southeast and even more north of this region. And it shows the migration patterns, where they move to tropical South America and Cuba. The worm-eating warbler has a rapid, dry trill, often sounds like an insect. Here's an example of their song. This is the cited sources page. These are the sources I used to find all the information for this video. The information came from the Auburn Library, where I used peer-reviewed papers to find this information.